I'm Dr. Shibu John from 3D Graphy News. I'm the managing editor and the founder for 3D Graphy News, a platform which is actually to share insights on the subject of 3D. 3D technology is getting a lot of traction, ladies and gentlemen. 3D technology is currently used in various sectors: aerospace, defense, automotive, engineering, shipbuilding. But now today, the thought and the discussion will be around medical and orthopedics very specifically. Now there's been a great scope of making precise surgery and ensuring that efficiency can be maintained in the OT by the doctors conducting the surgery. So 3D printing is also one of the key aspects when it comes to models where pre-operative surgeries can be done, and then subsequently also the same 3D printer which can print metal can also be used for metal implants. You know, they come with different grades. So the opportunity in terms of the technology is huge. But today I would like to introduce you to a technology also called 3D augmented reality and also virtual reality, making it more convenient for doctors to use the solution for superimposition for planning the surgery and also even conducting a live surgery. So let me take the opportunity to introduce you all to Mr. Rajiv, who is the director with Arthro 3D, a company based in Gujarat, Ahmedabad, who has actually got a fantastic solution in the offering. Now Arthro 3D also is a 3D Graphy associate corporate member, coming as a part of this consortium to offer solutions within the consortium, also through various platforms that we have designed. So a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Rajiv. Can you please explain, what and how it all started, and how did you get into 3D augmented reality on a personal note, and then probably also talking about the solutions that you're in the offering.
Thank you, Dr. Shibu. And first of all, thanks to 3D Graphy for giving the opportunity for us to be a part of the consortium and present in such a platform of Indian orthopedic conferences. We started, I think the way we ended up with this concept is when we realized that the surgery which is done by the doctors, especially for the joint replacements, is getting more and more into tech augmented platforms. By the introduction of navigation as a tool for doing orthopedic surgeries way back, and followed by robotics, which is very recent in times, the more and more focus was given on the orthopedic surgeons, on the cuts, on the more specific dependency of the orthopedic surgeons on biomedical engineers or someone who is distantly guiding a robotics surgeon or a doctor how to carry out the surgery. Arthro 3D as a company, we started off with this 3D augmented platform, and we have 3 products which is commercial in the market. The first product is Knee 3 Viz, that is the 3D augmented platform for doing knee replacements only. Followed by we have Hip 3 Viz for hip and Glen 3 Viz for glenoids, that is for joint replacement of shoulder. Very unique concept. The concept has 3, I would say, major wings if you talk about it. One, it is a doctor dependent concept, means it is a tech which augments the doctor not on his skill but on the perimeter of his I would say the playground. It defines the playground of the doctor within the operation theatre. So the augmentation actually helps the doctor to understand the knee better, the implants better, the surgical approach better, and definitely 3 holds good. The outcome is definitely got to be better.
Efficiency is the key there.
Absolutely, sir. So why we did it? We understood that even with the navigation and with the robotics, all these are on-table planning. I'm not getting into the how good or how bad they are. There must be definitely all positive points. But the reason why we came into this business is that we wanted to give all the armaments to the doctor, and the doctor has to execute the surgery with the finest precision. How do we do it? It is a CT based 3D planning tool. So this Arthro 3D as a company and our products Knee 3 Viz, they have 2 major platforms. One is the online platform, and one is the patient-specific modular instrumentation, which is the offline platform. The journey starts with the CT scan of the patient. So we need the knee CT scan for knee, hip and shoulder respectively. The patient's CT scan, the raw file, is sent by the doctor to us as a company on our web portal, web server. And we actually transform that raw file into a virtual 3D image of the hip, knee or shoulder.
Okay.
And we give the entire surgical precise landmarks and the implant size, implant positioning, and send it back to the surgeon in one line. So all the post-surgical, I would say post-op parameters that you normally see, how did your surgery go? So any doctors would like to see the post-surgical, post-op thing. You can do that same experience, you can get the same experience pre-operatively. So maybe over before 2 to 3 weeks, if you're planning a surgery 2 to 3 weeks after, you can do the surgical planning with the same CT scan of the patient before that. So exactly you know how the joint looks like, what should be the surgical approach, what would be the implant size that should get in for this patient. So it reduces your inventory also, it reduces your operating time. And when you actually see when you walk into the OT, you have the plan in your hand. It's like a deja vu. You have seen the knee or the joint before and you're executing the surgery.
More importantly, Rajiv, I also understand that when you're cutting, when you're in the OT and we are also playing with life in the blood. Yes. So when you're cutting, when you cut open, there is a profuse blood flowing. So this also ensures that the surgery time is limited, ensuring that it's faster execution, efficiency, and less of blood. So I think that also helps in terms of the pre-operative planning. Now, where I'm coming from, a procedure. Now, this can also be dealt with some 3 or 4 doctors using the devices, augmented. Can it be actually a supporting kind of a function using the technology in the augmented space?
Yes. What happens is that in an augmented space, the primary surgeon becomes the man with the most of the armamentarium.
Right.
He is the boss, he's the captain of the ship, and he knows how to execute the surgery. What he gets the guidance from our platform is that the plan is so variably executed to the nearest millimeter. I repeat, nearest mm.
Okay.
So it is very, very precise. So the playground is even the deviation is not more than 1 millimeter.
Okay.
The augmentation starts the second phase, when you exactly know how the knee joint looks like before the surgery, and you know how you're going to start the approach. Your soft tissue release, your cuts, your blood loss automatically reduce. These are, although it was off-label indication, but since you're asking, I'm telling you, these have been reported that the soft tissue release are much lesser than the normal conventional way of doing things. You mentioned about blood loss, hence, because we know the cuts are lesser, the healing is fast. And another interesting thing which may not people realize, because for a patient it is very difficult to understand, but for a doctor they realize that the implant size that we give you pre-operatively, this is the best fit implant for the patient ever. So when you walk out of the OT, you have that sense of satisfaction as a doctor that I've given the best implant, which is made like customized for that patient. Nothing can go beyond this. It's the best. Each and every knee, for each and every knee, the implants, I am talking about the CT scan, right? The first part was CT scan. I also mentioned about the second part. The second part is whatever we get from the software, the planning, it is percolated down to the metallic jig. So I will help you with the metallic jig, how it looks like. I'll show you. So this is how the metallic jig looks like. So every knee, for every knee, it is different. We all know that all knees are different. So this becomes customized for each and every knee. So suppose I take a knee CT scan of yours, and the software picks up the surgical landmarks based on your knee condition, and the software tells how to prepare my jig for taking the cuts. And since this is a non-intramedullary platform, by Dr. John, we mean non-interventional means there is no intervention of the intramedullary canal. The biggest worry of any doctor. the conventional joint replacements ensure it's a part of that. You have to violate the intermedullary canal. This is a non-intermedullary platform. Hence, this jig is more important, and this is company specific. So all the companies which are available in India, each jig is pertaining to one company implants. Okay. So what you do, you place this on the femur, take the cuts based on the software identification, and take out the jig and take the normal cuts with this guidance. So this allows you to go non-intramedullary way. This jig.
Right.
And you know exactly how much to cut.
Now the same can also be used with 3D printed jigs and fixtures in case if you want to make those.
Okay. What happens in 3D printing, when you have a 3D print, they are good in execution of understanding how the bone looks like. So when you have a 3D print, they say use and throw. You can't use it again. This is, you can use with n number of times with n number of patients. Okay. And each time you use it, it becomes patient specific for you.
Okay.
So this is a level up. And here the doctor not only depends on the software outcome.
So these are the instruments that you also offer to the doctors to make a choice in terms of using it while
so this
surgery.
is the second part.
Okay.
First part is CT derived 3D augmented the measurement, and the second is transferring this into jig and carrying out in the operation theatre.
Got it.
This jig.
And can I have a look at the device, the 3D visualization device in terms of how it's operational?
I'll tell you, sir.
How does it
Now, this has been the basic product which I have discussed with you.
Okay.
What are we coming out with is the augmented, I said mixed reality.
Okay.
So for that you need a HoloLens.
Okay.
So this currently what happens, this software gives you the entire details of the patient's knee. And you can see from your desktop or a laptop.
Right.
Okay. And you take a picture, go into the OT directly. So now, the second is putting this as a Microsoft HoloLens.
Okay.
This is HoloLens developed Microsoft. That's standard. But the interesting part is the entire planning that you give is now you can see on your visual, the screen.
Okay.
It comes here.
Right.
So you don't have to look at your computer. It's come here. And you walk into the OT and the entire planning is like, it's an Iron Man robotics.
Right.
So you see the plan in front of you, visualize, put the plan on the patient's femur, entire knee. It superimposes, the planning here superimposes on the femur, and you can take the surgical cuts.
Fantastic.
Don't you think it's important?
Yeah, that's very, very important. That's making your procedure so simple and very simplified in terms of getting the best outcomes better.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
And another interesting is, unlike robotics, the planning is done much prior. Number two, it's a democratic platform, so you are free to use any company implant of your choice.
Oh, interesting.
See, normally what happens in India, we have a trend that we pick up the implant first and then the patient. Ideally, it should be the other way around. Yes. We should pick up patient, and there are needs which might not cater to the implant of your choice.
Right.
So this platform helps you in getting into this mode of freedom.
Yeah.
You are free.
Yeah. So I think this also means that patient satisfaction is going to be the outmost benefit that we can get from technologies that you're offering.
Ideally, Dr. Shivu, it's very important. I might talk very high, but important thing is that we need to give a time for 5 to 6 years over a period of, a patient surgery and then follow-up period to understand the patient. In India, we do not have patient satisfaction quotient as such in joint replacement.
Exactly.
I hope it would have been. Patient can still say, but I'm happy, even if they are not happy internally, because they were not unable to walk and they can walk properly. So we don't have that quotient demarked very properly. But yes, this is important. We should have a follow-up. As for what you see, if your knee needs an implant, if the implant is made for the knee, I think that solves all the questions.
So Rajiv, rightly said so. Patient satisfaction index has never been a key aspect in terms of covering in the country, and never probably there are institutions and hospitals who might be taking that as one good step. But we as 3D Graphy has taken an initiative, working with various hospitals, ensuring that how we can actually also democratize this in terms of also educating them in terms of with a scorecard for hospitals to decide, and hospitals to come up with patients' testimonials in terms of deriving the patient satisfaction index. So I think that's the future, and we're wishing you all the very best for a great initiative and a great technology in the offering. And all the very best, Rajiv,
Thank you.
for the endeavor and the initiative. and wishing you all the very best, and we will definitely see how we can set a pathway for the technology going forward. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much, Dr. John. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.